What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Inside the Five. It's Griff.
Stuff.
And on this episode, we're going to be reviewing all things week 3 of the National Football League. We've had some 70-point games put up by some teams, the jersey I'm wearing right now. We've had some crazy overtime games. We've had a lot of stuff go down this weekend. We're recording this on Tuesday, fresh off of Monday Night Football. Stav, what do we say?
Let's do it.
All right, everybody, we are here on a beautiful Wednesday, the day of this being released, but we're going to be reviewing Thursday Night Football, getting started with week 3, our review. We had the 49ers at home against the New York Giants, and it was the same story all over again for this New York Giants team, and they don't look bright at all this year. On the other side of the ball, San Fran improves to 3-0 in a tough NFC West division. A lot of guys shining on this side, especially without Brandon Ayuk. You had guys like Deebo Samuel had a great game. You obviously know what you're going to get out of Christian McCaffrey, and Brock Purdy did his thing with 2 touchdowns as well. Stav, 2 NFC teams. You kind of see maybe one team that's going to be at the bottom of the barrel going into this season, and one team that's supposed to be at the top. What do you think about this game? It's a Thursday night game, and historically Thursday night games have sucked. I feel like the 49ers did exactly what they should have done to this team.
Yeah. There's a reason all had the 49ers minus 11, but Brock Purdy really came out and he did his job. Him in this offense is a perfect fit, and he does his job well. He gets the ball to the playmakers, and we saw what Christian McCaffrey is capable of, and we saw what this offense is capable of in general when guys are injured, like Brandon Ayuk, and you have guys stepping in. Like, what was the rookie's name who scored the opening touchdown? I forget his name, but he was making plays on both sides of the ball. He made some plays on special teams as well. And this 49ers team is just so deep, and their defense flies around. It looked like the Giants weren't even in the NFL when it comes to this. And there's a reason why the 49ers are going to be Super Bowl favorites probably throughout the year. And we'll get to another team that's probably a Super Bowl favorite right now, but the 49ers look by far as the best team in the NFC throughout 3 weeks.
Yeah, and they picked up exactly where they left off when Brock Purdy went down with that injury last year. And you say he's the perfect fit, and there's been obviously a lot of talk about kind of who could play that quarterback position for San Fran, and people think anyone could do it, but Brock Purdy is still going out there and slinging the ball. He's had a few honestly disgustingly terrible balls I've seen in the past 3 weeks, to be honest. But he does his thing. I mean, so has everyone in this league. We'll talk about it in this next game too, because we got some ugly teams coming up next. But Brock Purdy's going to do what he does in that system. It's perfect. That is one of the greatest offenses. The theme of the episode today is going to be some of the most innovative, best offenses of all time, because the 49ers are going to fit in that category here today. And we're going to talk about a team later who put up some absolutely huge numbers. You guys already know who it is. But as far as spreads predictions, Thursday Night Football, we're starting off all with the 49ers minus 11. We all covered the spread to start off Thursday Night Football. That's a good start for us, Stav.
All had 49ers minus 11. I mean, there's not much more to say about this game. All right, let's move on to Sunday slate. We'll kick it off with a game that, to be honest, we really didn't expect to be competitive. I mean, I did, but as highlighted here. But we had the Colts traveling to Baltimore to face the Ravens in a shitty condition game. And the Colts came out on top 22-19. Gardner Minshew pulls out the nitty-gritty win. This Colts team has elevated a kind of a frisky territory where you don't necessarily want to face the Colts. They can easily upset whoever they're facing. They always rise to the competition, and they didn't have their starting quarterback, and you go on the road and beat a very good Baltimore Ravens team, which I have a few comments about myself. But Griff, give me your preliminary thoughts on this game.
They just went out there and that defense did their thing against Baltimore. What I've noticed about Baltimore is these games where it seems like they're running all over the field, you don't really notice what the other team's doing. There's just a lot of running, a lot of clock is being eaten up, and that's exactly what happened in this game. And this game was so even, and it shows. They went into overtime, obviously. I may sound like an idiot, but Lamar Jackson didn't really do anything in the air. Gardner Minshew did around the same, threw for a touchdown, and that was one of the bigger differences. And Zach Moss, probably the player of the game, just 122 yards on the ground. He caught a touchdown. Gardner Minshew went out there, and I've heard some crazy things about him saying that. Remember when Gardner Minshew was going crazy, like a few years ago, like when he was starting games in Jacksonville and he was all over social media and all of that? Yeah. I heard that he like doesn't have a phone anymore, and all he does and thinks and breathes about is football. Like that's it. And he lives in Indiana.
Yeah, that's actually crazy. I didn't hear that. But I kind of expect that. You remember that story that came out about him? I think it was either his senior year or his last year of college or his first year in the NFL, where he just lived in an RV and just kind of traveled around and did his own thing. Like he kind of reminds me of Andrew Luck in that facet, where he's kind of just on his own program. And he's a good leader. He's a leader of men. One of the best compliments you can probably receive. And the team rallies around adversity, it looks like, with this Colts team. To be honest, they're kind of like the darling of the NFL right now, where no one expected them to be good at all. They're sitting here at 2-1, right? They won last week against the Texans.
2-1.
Yeah, they're sitting here at 2-1. You have two pretty good wins. And on the other side of the ball, I'm not very impressed with what's going on in Baltimore right now. Their offense has a lot to work on, and some may start questioning if Lamar Jackson is the problem, because you go and you get him weapons. I know Odell Beckham was hurt. I know the shitty weather. Justin Tucker came short on a kick, which was probably the first time that's ever happened in his career. But this Ravens offense really hasn't impressed me through the first 3 weeks, and they really haven't faced anybody great.
Yeah, you know how well they're going to run the ball. But what really is going to be the difference for this Ravens team, because year in and year out, they're top 3, top 5 in run offense. It's what they do in the air, and it's what we're noticing again in this game. What we really didn't notice in those 2 wins, or at least one of those 2 wins when Zay Flowers kind of broke out last week. They need a guy that's going to go out there and get 80 to 120 yards a game, like a guy that's going to go out there and be 1,000-yard, 1,200-yard receiver for this team, and a guy that's going to get in the end zone as a receiver, and maybe even a tight end. They need Mark Andrews to step up. I think that those 2 guys that I mentioned, Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews, especially Andrews, dictate the future of this offense for this season, because in the air, I mean, they're so lackluster. Like I said earlier, Lamar Jackson and Gardner Minshew's stats pretty much add up, except for the fact that Minshew threw for a touchdown and Lamar didn't. So, I mean, by rule, Lamar had a worse game. Obviously, he did his thing on the ground, but it's the same issue that we've seen since that MVP season is they can do so much on the ground, but once it's time, like, late in the game, maybe even an OT in these moments, you need to throw the ball. You need a guy that's going to go out there, get those big first downs, get those big chunk plays. They don't have that in the air right now.
Absolutely not. And they usually rely on Lamar's legs, and when the conditions don't really help you in a sense where you can't really get the big plays, this offense really struggles.
Yeah, and I mean, if we want to talk about 2 offenses that seem to struggle, 2 running offenses, how about the team that didn't have their running back in the Cleveland Browns taking down the Tennessee Titans in a big game, 27-3. Deshaun Watson, obviously, like I said, without Nick Chubb, did his thing. Jerome Ford, who I feel like did good when Nick Chubb went out. He didn't really do too much in this game, or at least I don't remember hearing his name. And another guy I didn't hear his name at all today was Derrick Henry, who was absolutely terrible. This Tennessee Titans team reminds me of every Tennessee Titans team ever, and somehow we're going to end up maybe seeing them in the playoffs. I hope to God not, but good win by Cleveland. This game is the Cleveland that me and you talked about at the beginning of the season. We said, this is what they could be. And if they continue to do what they did And then when Nick Chubb comes back, once they can add that run game back to their team, they're going to be great. But it's great that they get to face adversity early in the season. They get to battle back from it. Then they'll have their reinforcements later. I like the course of this season for the Cleveland Browns.
Is Nick Chubb coming back?
No, he's not. Oh my God, no, he's not.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh wait. You know what the difference was? I saw the report that it wasn't career ending.
Yeah.
Big difference, but small mistake for me.
But yeah, you're right. Deshaun Watson did his thing. I don't want to say that he was worth his guaranteed contract or whatever it was, but we saw him go 27 of 33, 289 yards. He threw for 2 touchdowns, one of them being to Jerome Ford. But this whole Cleveland rushing attack, they ran 31 times for 78 yards. They couldn't really establish the run. About 7 different guys got an opportunity to run the ball, including Elijah Moore. Even Harrison Bryant had 2 attempts, which probably were on screens. But Amari Cooper also showed up. He had 6 receptions over about 119 yards, and he had a touchdown. Amari Cooper's been probably the best player on this Browns team throughout the first 3 weeks. He's shown up every single week. He's gotten his targets. He's gotten his receptions. And this is the type of game we're looking to see from Cleveland. This is the type of matchup where the defense of Tennessee is pretty good. You go out, you go put up 27 points, and defensively for Cleveland, you only let up 3 to a top or premier running back in the NFL. Now, let's talk about how shitty Ryan Tannehill is. He fucking sucks. He's 13 of 25 for 104 yards. Tennessee needs to move on. He's not helping them at all.
And they have options. They have a backup and a third-string quarterback, a second year, and a rookie. They have guys that they can move on, take a chance on to lead them for the next, say, 10 to 15 years. And they have 2 chances of that on their roster right now. That actually raises a great question where I believe that the Tennessee Titans should no longer start Ryan Tannehill. It's up to Malik Willis or Will Levis. Stav, who do you think it should be if they do move on?
It has to be Will Levis. We've already seen what Malik Willis does. He's not really competent throwing the football. And to win in today's NFL, you need to be able to move the ball down the field. And we're looking at what's happening with this offense when you can't throw the ball down the field because Ryan Tannehill can't throw the ball down the field. So I say you give Will Levis a chance, especially if this Tennessee season kind of goes down a little bit further. There's no doubt in my mind that they should give the kid a shot. You draft him in the 2nd round for a reason, and you expect him to step in and play a competent quarterback role. When you have a guy like DeAndre Hopkins, you have a guy like Derrick Henry on that offense, and you're putting up 3 points, that's a damn shame. And it sucks to see it because they have talent, and there's other role players in that offense. Their offensive line is very solid as well. There's no reason why you can only put up 3 points. That's embarrassing.
One of the better offensive lines in the league, and looking at this receiving core, even just your top 2 guys, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, who's their 3rd string and usually runs in their slot, switches out with Treylon Burks. That's a guy that can go out there and make some plays. They don't use him at all. Treylon Burks, same thing with him. He's a 2nd-year guy who had a lot of spark out of college. He came to Tennessee. He was supposed to save this past game. And then their new addition this past offseason in DeAndre Hopkins. Stop, you didn't even mention his name. If we were talking about DeAndre Hopkins or the Arizona Cardinals 2 years ago, there was no chance we would get through the game without talking about DeAndre Hopkins. And I believe he can still make a difference in each and every game that he plays. But when you're running under this offense, and this is an offense where they don't run to open up the pass, they just run. And if they lose, they're still going to run. It doesn't work, and that's why they've never won a Super Bowl, and they had their chance and they blew it. And they should honestly, I don't think they should move on from their coaching staff. I think that they have a great staff, but the play calling has to change in Tennessee. It's been the same for years.
Yeah, there's no variety to that playbook, especially if you can figure it out. Games like this happen where you get blown out and you only put up 3 points. But with that being said, let's move on to a game with – all right. I don't know why, but I'm all on board with the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love, in my opinion, is fucking awesome. I know this was the box score suggests that this was a low scoring game. It was, but the offense is moving the ball. Jordan Love made plays when they were down. The Packers were down 17-3, and they came all the way back. They did the analytics thing. Did you see that? They went down 17-3. They scored a touchdown and went for 2 to make it 17-11. And then they scored the next touchdown, obviously making 17-18. The analytics say if you're down 14 and you score a touchdown, go for 2. They did that. They got it on the first try, and that's the reason why they ended up winning. Although the Saints did miss a field goal down at the end. And we have to mention that Derek Carr did get injured. He's probably going to be out for a week or two, maybe a little bit longer with the sprained AC joint. We saw a little bit of Jameis, but this was a fun game. I like the Packers, and I'm glad to see them win, although they didn't cover.
I'm glad that you mentioned that you're all in on the Packers because I love them this year, but I've officially already addressed that I'm all in on the other team that lost this game, the Saints. And I like both of these teams this year in the NFC. I actually think that they're very similar. But Derek Carr going down, in my opinion, means that we shouldn't see his face again this season. Jameis Winston is going to take over.
To support your case of liking the Saints even more, Alvin Kamara comes back this week.
Exactly. An offense with Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill is going to get a lot more touches in this offense. And Jameis Winston's going to be out there slinging the rock. And they have Alvin Kamara back with Kendra Miller, with Tony Jones Jr. That's a great – and then when – what's his name? Jamal Williams is there too. When he comes back, they're going to have to drop one of those guys. 2 young guys, one of them's going to get cut. Hopefully it's the kid I have in my dynasty league so he can go somewhere else and get touches. But this offense is still electric too. Like this receiving core with Olave, Slant Boy, Juwan Johnson, the dude from TikTok. And how about we talk about some special teams? Maybe our special teams player of the week, Rashid Shaheed, returning a punt for 76 yards. One of the most electric players in the NFL today, honestly.
Fast as fuck. He always makes plays. I feel like he's one of those guys who this is going to be probably the most random comparison that you can make, but he reminds me of Jamal Agnew. Just fast as fuck. And you'll randomly see him on red zone where he just catches a random 70-yard touchdown on just a go route.
And I feel like, did he wear a different number last year? Rashid Shaheed, he wears like 22 now.
Yeah, he wore like...
But he's a wide receiver.
Didn't he wear... I feel like he was in the teens last year. He's other than the teens of the 80s. Like
yes, either the teens of the 80s.
Yeah, I mean, that's most... Yeah, that was most receivers. But none of us got this right. I mean, thank God for the notes. But this was a close game. And I'm glad to see that. And this was a fun game, although it was only 18-17.
Yeah, and those are the games that we look forward to. And there's a lot of games that scored a lot of points this week. And some people are arguing that this slate was bad. But you know what we say, Stav, about a bad slate.
Yeah, there's no such thing.
Exactly. So let's get on to the next game between the Lions and the Falcons. And spot on from us. All 3 of us had the Lions -3. They took down the Falcons 20-6. And honestly, once again, kind of like I said on Thursday night, in my opinion, this is exactly what we were expecting to see from the Lions in this game. But I do have a quick story about myself. I am a Dynasty Fantasy League participant. I am a team owner. Joe Burrow is my quarterback. Desmond Ridder is my backup quarterback. The first 2 weeks, Joe Burrow, bad, right? Going into Monday night, you don't know if he's starting. The day before, I started Ridder. Desmond Ridder put up absolutely nothing. I'm cutting him the next opportunity that I have. And the worst part is Joe Burrow played the next night and only put up 3 more points. Joe Burrow, we'll talk about the Bengals soon. We'll talk about the Bengals soon. But Joe Burrow, I mean, just absolutely terrible. And Desmond Ridder, the same thing. I have 2 quarterbacks on my fantasy team. Nobody cares, but they both suck.
Yeah. What's your option to pick up another quarterback if you're dropping Ridder?
Dude, do you really want to know? I don't think you really want to know because
if you
want to hop on this Josh Dobbs this is a 16-team dynasty league.
Yikes. Is Josh Dobbs the A1 option?
Dude, can you see my phone? Josh Dobbs is there's 16 teams in it. Everybody has backup. Josh Dobbs is my only option. The next projected is Blake Sims.
Blake Sims from Alabama?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
He's in the NFL?
Yeah, he's 31.
What?
The Bucks claimed him off waivers on wait, what? No. No, he's not in the NFL. Why is he the second best option? He's not in the NFL. He's not in the NFL. He hasn't been in like 6 years. I don't know why he's on sleeper.
Blake Sims, Tampa Bay Buccaneers running back?
But anyways, Josh Dobbs is literally my only starting quarterback that I could pick up. And I'm thinking about doing it. Last week, he had like 25 points. And Desmond Ridder, just an awful game. And I want to talk a little bit about this Falcons game before we move on from it. The Lions did exactly what you'd think they do. Jahmyr Gibbs had an okay game. But on the Atlanta side, it's just the same thing I said last week, man. It's super unfortunate the way that the Falcons play with the amount of weapons that they have on offense and the amount of young talent that they have on offense, especially Kyle Pitts. He has never done anything in his career, in his professional career. And was he the fifth pick, Stav?
Fifth or sixth? Might have been fourth.
Sixth.
He might have been fourth.
Might have been fourth. I think he was 4.
That was the Mac Jones draft. So it went 1 was obviously Lawrence, 2 was Zach Wilson, 3 was Lance, 4 was the Falcons, it was Pitts.
Oh my God. And he just, dude, he hasn't done, once again, I guess I'm just complaining about my dynasty team here. But he just hasn't done anything. Drake London has had his moments. He's a guy that's like, he has like 3 or 4 moments a year, which is not good at all. You should be having a moment every week if you're Drake London. They don't throw the ball. They threw it more in this game, and it really didn't work out because they never give Ridder a chance to really extend the ball down the field. This is a team in the Falcons that, they're 2-1. I don't know if they're going to win 2 more football games, and I think that they're going to be hunting for Caleb Williams come draft season.
Yeah. When's it going to be free Kyle Pitts season?
Dude, I'm waiting on it any moment. Like I think he should get traded this year. He won't, but
imagine him in like Kansas City.
Anywhere else. He's going to be a great tight end. He plays wide receiver for them. He's their second receiver.
Dude, the Dolphins should totally trade for him.
What would they trade? Le GM?
I don't know. Yeah. That's the last move you need to make. Literally just
trade all the first round picks. All of them.
Yeah, you don't need first round picks when you're going to be picking in the bottom half of the first round. Doesn't really matter.
All of them. The next 5. No, honestly, for Pitts, the Falcons would probably take a first, a second, and a couple of defensive pieces.
What defensive pieces? Dude, just give up Jalen Ramsey at this point. I mean, you don't have him now. And
not yeah,
we'll get to. We'll get.
But you talk about a couple of AFC East teams.
Yeah.
Sweet transition.
AFC East teams. Pats at Jets. This game fucking sucked. I hate both of these teams. Patriots offense is bad. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. At least we know Mac Jones has good ball security. Pats covered because of a safety. Jets almost won because of a Hail Mary. We all had Pats -2.5. Shout out to the notes. I wouldn't have known that otherwise. And the Jets are awful. Zach Wilson sucks. He's bad.
Yeah, and that was my lock of the week, and I hit it. My first lock of the week that I hit this year. I'm now 1-1-1. I had you guys' team, and they went out there and they won the football game. It was ugly. It was atrocious, but that defense looked good. And what's his name looked very good, the rookie.
Oh, Christian Gonzalez is fucking awesome.
Yeah, he's great. And we'll talk about another rookie cornerback first-round pick later in the episode that also looked great this week. But also I noticed the incorporation of Jabril Peppers into the special teams. He's now returning punts. I like that. He had a pretty good punt return in this game. I think that he's also been doing his thing. I feel like he hasn't been getting in enough on defense, but that defense has looked good. So Even though they're 1-2, that's good to get the first win of the season, and it's great that it's against a divisional opponent, and it's especially good that it's against the New York Jets.
Yeah, Jabril Peppers, we don't talk about him a lot, but he's awesome. When he gets in, he makes plays. He's a playmaker on defense. He's a hard hitter. And there's a play that sticks out to me, I think early in the third quarter or in the second quarter. It was third and short, and Zach Wilson made a pass into the flat, and Jabril Peppers blew up Garrett Wilson and then made the tackle to the tight end and stopped them from converting the third down. That's just what he does. He makes plays on defense. He prevents offenses from getting that extra yard, from continuing drives. And he's someone who I love to have on the Patriots. He's so versatile where he can play down into the box. He can make plays. He can tackle running backs going sideline to sideline. Him and Kyle Duggar and Adrian Phillips are three of the best versatile safeties in the NFL. And there's a few others that make plays like that. Like a name that comes into mind is Jeremy Chin in Carolina, who when they come down into the box, you have to incorporate them. Talanoa Hufanga. There's certain guys, but the Patriots have three of them who make plays. And I bet as the season progresses, we're going to see a lot more of Marte Mapu, the linebacker that they drafted in the third round, who also plays safety. He comes down and he makes plays inside the box as well. And that's my type of safety. I love watching fast guys make big hits. That's as dumb as it sounds, but that's my favorite type of play to see.
No, playmakers, and you need playmakers on both sides of the ball. And you talked about a few on the defensive side of the ball. How about we move on to this next game, because we had some real playmakers on the offensive side of the ball in Miami on Sunday at Hard Rock. They put up 70 on the Denver Broncos, and Russell Wilson, you can say what you want about him, but he's still trash, and that running game can't do anything. They can't break anything open, and that's about all we have to say about the Broncos. Now, the Dolphins, they went out there and they wanted blood. Tua, 4 touchdowns. Devon Achane, who I think didn't play in week 1. He's a rookie, right? Didn't play in week 1. Got a little taste last week. Broke loose for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns in this game. On the ground. Did he score in the air too?
Yeah, I think he caught it.
He had 4 total touchdowns in this game.
Yeah.
That's insane. I was trying to trade for him. Nothing. They didn't want anybody on my team for him because he's going to be something special. And you talk about this team and, obviously no Jalen Waddle in this game. And Tyreek Hill has to do his thing, and he does his thing with 157 yards, a touchdown. Raheem Mostert on the run game as well, had a few touchdowns himself. Just everybody was scoring. Literally everybody on this team was scoring. It was just awesome to watch. I hate the Broncos. It was fun to watch. It was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Fuck the Broncos. This was a bad game for them. Obviously, you lose by 50 and you let up 70 points. There's no hiding that. And how do you go to next week? Like, what's the memo? Like, do you throw away the tape? Because there's a lot of tape to watch. There has to be.
Bury it. Bury it. Bury the tape. Bury the tape. Bury the tape at Mile High. Bury it.
You got to fix a lot of stuff. And it's going to be hard to come back if you're the Broncos. You're sitting at 0-3 right now. You just got humiliated. Everyone's talking about it. Literally, it was up to Mike McDaniel or not. Mike McDaniel, if they wanted to become the all-time leading scorer in a single game in the NFL. And he decided to take the moral high ground and take the knees at the end of the game. They could have kicked the field goal and did it. You have Robbie Chosen Anderson scoring touchdowns on you from 70-yard bombs from Mike White. You got a lot of reflecting you need to do. And Pat Surtain got cooked by Tyreek. It looked like Bishop Sycamore versus IMG.
Oh, my God. It did. It did.
It looked like there was no preparation from the Broncos in this game.
It looked like a D1 FCS team, like one of the bottom barrel ones, just got $1 million to go play at Clemson.
Yeah, back in 2014.
Yeah, like when Clemson was disgust. It was kind of like what Tua was doing at Alabama.
I love getting phone calls in the middle of the
I was getting a little call here.
Yeah, sorry, Mom. I'll call you back. Yeah, it was really it just looked way too easy for the Miami Dolphins, and I'm coming in and questioning. You gave up a How many first-round picks did they give up for Sean Payton to the Saints?
Oh,
A lot.
like 3.
They gave up like 2 first-round picks and a second-round pick or something like that. So this is back-to-back years or trades that you make to get someone who you think is going to improve your franchise, and you give up your first-round pick, which is going to end up being a top 10 pick. So you're moving laterally when you're sucking now. You're not even preparing to win in the future. So this Broncos team is fucked.
Yeah.
And that's all I really have to say. Shout out Miami. They're probably Super Bowl favorites in the AFC. They've looked the best through 3 weeks out of any team in the NFL.
No, I mean, and you can put them up there with the 49ers, and I'm not going to throw the Cowboys on there anymore. We'll talk about them soon. But, I mean, the Dolphins, what they are doing, and I said the theme of this episode was innovative offenses. Like, they are on pace to be the greatest offense of all time with what the numbers that they're putting up this year. If they can do what they did in the run game all year, you already know what they're going to get out of the air. If Tua stays healthy from Tyreek and Jalen Waddle when he comes back, it's going to be really dangerous to put up with. And I see this team kind of being like a Phillip Rivers-led Chargers team. Remember the year when they led the NFL in offense, they led the NFL in defense, and somehow in special teams, and like lost in the wild card or something like that? The Chargers.
No, they didn't even meet the playoffs.
Oh yeah. They didn't win the division. Yeah. So I kind of see it being a year like this, and we'll get into this next game because I think this team may play a major factor in the Dolphins season, and that's the Buffalo Bills, as they finally did what they were supposed to do against the Washington Commanders. What I've seen differently about this Bills, I'm going to get right to it. This year is that run game, and James Cook has been very good in this run game. Josh Allen isn't putting the ball on the ground as much as it used to be. We talked about that before, Stav. I like that. On the defensive side of the ball, it was just a bloodbath. And I don't even think that the Bills' defense played like a terrific game, but they gave up like the Commanders were terrible. The Commanders are so trash. Sam Howell threw for 4 picks. 4 picks.
I think 2 of them were in the red zone too. Like, the Commanders were moving the ball decently. Like, they got big play opportunities, and then they would just turn the ball over, or they would throw some shitty pass right when they got the ball back. They picked off Josh Allen once, but it didn't really amount to anything. This game was easily predicted by me, according to the notes, which is great. I'm still not really convinced by the Bills. We'll see how they stack up next week against the Dolphins, which is probably going to be the game of the week.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's going to be a hell of a divisional matchup. And we'll move on to the next one here, a divisional matchup that we had in week 3. Maybe a game that we could compare if the Bills put up big numbers against the Dolphins next week, because the Texans 20-piece the Jacksonville Jaguars at home. Nobody expected this. Absolutely nobody got it right on our end. We all had the Jags over on our end, and it was not that. It was Tank Dell. It was CJ Stroud. It was that Houston Texans defense that really came to play in this game, and they put up big numbers in this game, and they took down the Jacksonville Jaguars. Stav, the Jaguars are 1-2, 1-10. How many? Sorry.
6.5.
Love it. That's exactly what I thought.
If they were in a different division, it'd probably be a little higher. I think that they still easily win this division. I want to give props to CJ Stroud. He's looked great. After week 1, where he looked shaky, he's improved every single week. Literally, quarter by quarter, he's gotten better. And he came out and he put on a masterclass for rookie quarterbacks. I'm a little worried about my Anthony Richardson Offensive Rookie of the Year vote now, because CJ Stroud is kind of taking the lead in that race. Hopefully Anthony Richardson comes back healthy and continues to put on the shows that he has. But right now it's between CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson, and I'm giving the nod to CJ Stroud if the season ends today. Thank God it doesn't.
Yeah, and Tank Dell's going to be up there as well, 145 yards. That's a real breakout game. just that's going to be a fun rookie pairing to watch. And hopefully they progress together for years to come, because I think Tank Dell can be a very solid wide receiver in this league. Just overall, a good win by Houston. I mean, both teams are 1-2. Like you said, Sav, I'm not too nervous about the Jags in this game. But we'll get to a team here that I was nervous about going into this game for some odd reason. And it kind of proved me right to begin this game in the Seahawks game against the I keep saying game against the Carolina Panthers. Ended up taking them down by 10 points, but it was Jason Myers galore. Special teams, 5 field goals to begin this game for the Seahawks. They then ran it in twice with Kenneth Walker, and thank God for him, because Kenneth Walker, no matter who we're playing, no matter what is happening, and I actually kind of like the way that Carolina's defense looked in the first half of this ball game. Kenneth Walker breaks out loose and he does his thing. He gets big first downs. DK Metcalf played a huge role in this game. On the other side of the ball, though, Andy Dalton came out there, and this is what I was nervous about. I think we would have wrecked the rookie, but when a veteran goes in there, he kind of has to settle down and show the rookie how to do it. That's exactly what Andy Dalton did today. And Adam Thielen, obviously veteran to veteran, that link up was very prevalent in this game.
Yeah, what did Thielen have? 10 receptions for 114 yards. You turn back the clock a little bit there. Andy Dalton's what Andy Dalton's always going to be. He's not exciting, but he's going to get the job done, kind of. Seahawks look great.
He was pissing me off in this game, though. He was pissing me off.
Yeah, he just slowly moves the ball. Just oh my God.
It's so annoying, bro.
It's it'll get to 3rd and 6. You're like, all right, here we get a stop, and then Andy Dalton will complete a pass for 3 yards, and then someone's going to break a tackle and get a first down. That's how Andy Dalton's always operated, and he's been lucky with good receivers. And then when he didn't get AJ Green mossing 3 defenders, he fucking sucked. Shout out Kenneth Walker, big fantasy pickup. Not pickup. I drafted him. But that was a great play. I had his over yards, and I had his touchdown as well, which was a good little hit for me there. And I had the Seahawks. Yeah, I had the Seahawks spread, Kenneth Walker anytime touchdown and over Kenneth Walker yards. That was a great hit for me. Shout out Kenneth Walker. Shout out the Seahawks. This almost was my lock of the week, but let's get to my lock of the week, which was the Chiefs and the Bears. To be honest, I don't even want to talk about this game. If you want to know anything that's relevant that happened in this game, just look on Twitter. Taylor Swift was there, and that's the only thing that came out of this game.
The Bears are the worst team of all time. But anyways, the Cowboys, you want to talk about a shitter, that's what they put up. Josh Dobbs, rocket scientist, call him how you see it, call him what you want. We all knew Dak Prescott was going to throw a pick in this game. And Arizona, 1-2. They're feisty, dude. They're feisty because they're 1-2 and they lost the last 2 weeks. But it's been a tough 3 weeks if you're facing Arizona.
If you're the Cardinals, you could say we could be 3-0 right.
And I hit this. Spread.
Griff, what did you know saying
this plus 12.5? And didn't I say that I think that they might win this game?
Yeah, you did. And what do our notes say about this game? You were the only one to hit it.
I got it. Me.
Yeah.
So basically, I'm out here. I'm feeling like the man right now. The tough part is the Cardinals play in the NFC West, and if I'm the Seahawks, dude, this is a team I'm watching the Cardinals after this week. And if we played the Cardinals next week as a Seahawks fan, we would lose probably by 20, and I would want to it would be bad. It would be bad. It would be real bad.
Right now, the Seahawks or the Cardinals don't even have Budda Baker.
So and Budda Baker. No, we always make the play on Budda Baker. So when he doesn't play, we lose to them.
Interesting. Yeah, this is a tough game for the Cowboys. The highest of expectations, to be honest. People were expecting them to win this game by 3 touchdowns, and they came out and they laid a stinker. I live bet them at halftime. I thought that they would come back like the Giants did last week, and they didn't. And this is kind of tough, and it pisses me off, especially because I'd be a lot more confident in the Patriots next week if the Cowboys won this game.
Yeah.
But I don't. We'll get to next week on a Thursday, but yeah, just a little preview. I'm not really confident in the Patriots this week. All right, Sunday Night Football. Steelers and Raiders. This game turned out to be an all right game. We saw Kenny Pickett throw for multiple touchdowns the first time in his career. Calvin Austin's fast. The Steelers defense is unbelievable, though. TJ Watt's unbelievable. Their secondary is not that good, but when you have TJ Watt getting the quarterback in under a second, you don't really need to have a good secondary, as we saw. Jimmy G sucks. Those were my takeaways.
I hate that this was a primetime game.
My other only takeaway in this game is that we all had the Raiders, and none of us hit, according to the key.
That was the only take I had. I had from this.
Devontae Adams is good too. Yeah, the notes.
But to be honest, like I said, I am very upset with the schedule makers. What did we think the Raiders were going to do against the Steelers on Sunday night in the first place? There was never any expectations on, honestly, either of these teams going into the season. Why are they playing on Sunday Night Football this early in the year? That's fucking stupid.
Which game would you have made Sunday Night Football?
Dude, there's actually like any of them. I'm not even kidding. I would have put
the Chargers and the Vikings. That should have been.
I would have put Pats Jets, except I know that the Jets are getting a lot of love because of the Aaron Rodgers. I would have put Saints Packers, except I know the Packers are getting a lot of love.
The next week's Sunday night game, Jets Chiefs.
Oh, that's like when you used to like see like the fucking shit brown Jags color rush go up against the baby blue Tennessee Titans color rush on Thursday Night Football, like right before or like Blake Bortles rookie year. That was like the worst time of my life. That's what that game's going to be next weekend. And honestly, that's kind of it wasn't a terrible game. I don't care about either of these teams. If I'm going to be 100% honest with everybody here, I couldn't care less about the Steelers or the Raiders or anybody on either of those teams. Like, except for Chandler Jones, who's, if you guys know what he's going through, he doesn't even know what he's going through. But we'll get on to Monday. Between the Eagles and the Bucks, and this was a game that should have been a lot closer, at least you'd think, at least Stav would think, because he had the Bucks spread. I can see on the notes here. But not us. The Eagles took down the Bucks. This is all an inside joke. I'm sorry if you guys think we suck. But this is all part of the bit. Anyways, as I was saying, the theme of this episode is innovative offenses. First off, how the hell can nobody stop it when everybody knows it's going to happen? It is inevitable. That 1 yard QB sneak is inevitable. Every single team should adopt this, especially the Los Angeles Chargers, who I feel like we didn't even talk about that game.
The Chargers game? Yeah, we kind of skipped over it.
That's fine. They won.
When we just kind of jumped to the Bills game, and I thought I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, me neither. That's fine. I actually think I did that, but bolt up anyways. Justin Herbert career day. But geez, center focus. Monday Night Football. We got 2 games left here, Griff. You got it. The Eagles are going out there and they're proving everybody wrong. The Bucks go into this game 2-0. Baker Mayfield riding high. The Eagles put them to bed. And overall, I just thought the Eagles looked very good in this game.
Yeah, the defense looked good. DeAndre Swift looked amazing. He's proving himself to be the RB1 on this team. He's getting consistent 100-yard games. He's looking like prime DeAndre Swift, even though he's only like 27 or 26, however old he is. Jalen Hurts looks great. He made some great throws under pressure, getting hit. A.J. Brown came to play.
He got his touches. Are good. That's what he wanted.
The Eagles' defensive line is amazing, and their secondary needs some work. Mike Evans is fucking awesome too.
Yeah,
and I love Baker, but this is a tough game to be in against the Eagles when your offensive line isn't really that good. I still like Baker. I still like the Bucks. I think that they'll be fine in the long run.
No, but you're going into it riding the highest of highs, 2-0, and you're going up against the team that just represented the NFC in the Super Bowl. It's a tough bid for Baker in this game, and I think that the Bucks will be all right in the long run. I think that they'll fight for a playoff spot, and I still like Baker this year. I think Baker's going to start the full year for this team, and they're going to do okay because they have the weapons to be all right. And you want to talk about a team that has the weapons to be great, but somehow they just time and time again fall short. Finally get a win this week to wrap up Monday night. The Cincinnati Bengals took down the Rams in a close game. The Rams, I'm going to say it, the Rams should have won this game, in my opinion. The Rams offense was very lackluster. They couldn't run the ball. They couldn't do anything. And the defense held through, and Tutu Atwell ends up scoring and, makes it close, and the Bengals just barely hold on. It's a big win for Cincinnati, but Joe Burrow 3 weeks in after getting that big contract, people are saying he looks terrible. I don't think he looks healthy.
Yeah, he doesn't. The offensive line's not really helping him either, but Jamar Chase looked fucking great. T. Higgins is dropping a lot of passes, which isn't really like him.
Yeah.
The defense, especially the defensive line of the Bengals, looks good, and Mike Hilton looked great as well. This was a push. We all pushed purple.
Purple.
And
purple push.
it was a purple push. I'm still not really going all in one way on the Bengals, whether I'm saying this season's done or this season's fine. I can't go. I think that they will be fine in the long run. We kind of saw them start slow last year, but this is why you need to get preseason reps. I know that Joe Burrow was kind of injured to start training camp, but the other guys needed to get reps. You could have put in Jamar Chase for 2 drives. Like, you need to. What was the Mike Tomlin quote? You don't go into a boxing match without sparring, and we're seeing what happens when you don't spar before the match. You push on Monday Night Football.
That's like not Mike Tomlin quote I was thinking of, and then I thought about it. Mike Tomlin has so many different.
He's a big quote guy. But let's move on. Lock of the week. I'll get it started. 3-0. 3-0. I switched up my lock of the week 4 times last episode. I don't know if you guys saw where I started and where I ended, but each of my locks of the weeks hit that I picked.
All 4 of them?
Yes. I was going to go 49ers minus 11, but I'm like, I don't want to put my eggs in the basket on Thursday Night Football. So I skipped that. And then I was going to go to the Lions, but then Will picked it. So I went to a new one. I had the Seahawks minus 6.5. I didn't want to kind of copy your flow with the Patriots, so I just went with the Chiefs minus 13 in that. So in reality, I'm 7-0 for locks of the week. But we're not going to count that. We'll only count the Chiefs one. And we all won this week. Green.
Yeah, we all won this week. My first win. I don't have 2 losses though. I'm 1-1-1. And I'm not in last place, and I'm not going to be in last place. There's a long season ahead. There's a lot of games to win ahead. And I will not be in last place. Last place right now is Will. Will, congrats on your win. Will has COVID. That's what he said.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I know. Hopefully he hops on 2K tonight, but he probably won't because he never does. Anyways, we hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Will, if you're listening to this episode, text me. Let me know you listen. We will catch you guys for the predictions. We will be full strength. Love you guys. Love you, Will. And peace.
Peace.